Well, hi again. It's your Z-Man, Z ZOLTAI. I'm your host of One Man Show. Tonight, a special feature spotlighting the Olmsted Falls boys basketball team, district champions over at Midview High School in Division I at that Grafton bracket, defeating Lakewood St. Edward. We're going to see highlights of that victory over the St. Edward Eagles here in a moment. We're also going to see highlights of their trip to the Toledo Regional. Sit back and enjoy. One Man Show is cranked up and ready to go.
Another 6'3" player. He's a senior, Ryan Mirando. Mirando at just under 11 points per contest. And rounding out the starting five, the big fella in the middle, 6'9". He's a senior, Chris Moore. Moore averaging 19 points and 10 rebounds per ball game for the Eagles. Lakewood St. Edwards comes into tonight scoring 69 points per ball game, and the Eagles are giving up defensively 59.5. For the Bulldogs from Olmsted Falls, the number 2 seed here at Midview under head coach Pat Donahue. They will start 3 guards, 5'10" senior Mickey Mennel. Mennel averaging 2.5 points per ball game. The second guard is a senior 6'3" Dan Bingley. Bingley at 18.6. Well, that was reminiscent of Mickey's arm during the football season. Mennel drops it on the baseline to a driving Bingley who scores.
Bingley did a nice job of reading the paint, stepping right in like a log rush.
28-25. 3-point lead for the Eagles. They've got the basketball. 44 seconds to go first half. And on the right side, stepping out of bounds, Braddick drives to the bucket. Got his shot blocked, got it back, put it in. Pat Braddick with a nice ball game. He's got 9. 33-28. But at the other end, John Curran drives and scores. Morgan in between the circles for Lakewood St. Ed's. Threw it out front, ball deflected, tracked down by John Curran. On the left wing to Bernhard. Got it into Moore. Moore backs in, bank shot, good. And the Eagles are within 1. 47-46 at the other end, driving and fouled as he went to the hoop. Dan Bingley. 14 trimmed in gold on his blue uniform. Around the rim and out on the second. He missed them both. Here come the Eagles with a chance to take the lead. Out front, Mirando. Whips it left of the lane to Moore. Moore drives and scores. Moore with 13 to go in the basketball game. On the right side, Braddick. Braddick into the lane. Up with the left hand. Rolled it in. Pat Braddick with 19. 55-54. The Bulldogs reclaim the lead. 3:20 to go. Skettle on the baseline to Moore. Moore back on the right wing to Skettle. Throws it out front to Trent Morgan. 3:15 to go. 1 point lead for Old Falls. Right wing, Mirando for three. It's short. Rebound Scales. Ball knocked out of his hands. Grabbed by Braddick. He got fouled by Chris Moore. That's 4 on Moore.
Hey, just a quick little pop-up here. The play-by-play voice accompanying the video you're watching here tonight on One Man Show is that of Tim Alcorn, longtime play-by-play man at AM 930 WEOL in Elyria, and my broadcast partner on many of the games broadcast on AM 930. The color commentary is done by me. Somewhat witty, sometimes colorful, I know, but I thought I'd let you know that. And again, the audio courtesy of AM 930 WEOL. I hope you're enjoying our special feature tonight, Olmsted Falls boys basketball playoff footage here on One Man Show. More show coming up right now.
Morgan into the forecourt for the Eagles. Left wing to Mirando. Gives it in the corner to Bernhardt. Back out front to Morgan. His three. Line drive shot. No good. Rebound Gansey. Gansey in the backcourt. Surrounded. Bounce to Bingley. Bingley up ahead to Tabor, and he traveled with the basketball. Settle down, no fouls.
And I'm on that page too. You got to keep these kids' heads in the game because it is only a 7-point lead, and you're up against the 6th-ranked team in the state in Division I, Tim.
Bingley shooting 1-1. First one up, around the rim and out. Rebound Mirando. Boy, poor free throw shooting has kept St. Ed's alive. In the right corner, Curran for three. Off the back of the rim, no good. Rebound Morgan, drives, put it up, no. Rebound Moore, put it up, no. Rebound Moore, hooked it up and in. Timeout, St. Ed's. 61-56, a full timeout. Bulldogs with the basketball and the 5-point advantage. The Eagles are down to 1 timeout.
It is only basically what you're looking at here is a 5-point game. That's a 3 and a deuce. This St. Edward team is a bunch of sharpshooters. They can come back. Olmsted Falls must play smart basketball and don't turn it over again.
Braddick will inbound in the backcourt. Runs the baseline, throws it into Scales. Scales got held, no foul called. Scales at the timeline, now got shoved, and they'll call the foul. And listen to the Bulldog crowd. 13.3 seconds are all that separate Pat Donahue and a trip to Toledo next Thursday night.
I tell you what, though, like the old adage says, Tim, it's not over till it's over. You can these 2 free throws, then you can feel a little bit better about your chances. You miss these 2, and St. Edward comes down and gets a tray. It's a different game with 10 ticks.
Got to hit 1. And he did it.
And he did it. You're right.
That's it. That is it. 65-58. There's just not enough clock for the Bulldogs. Scales, line right, short on the second. Rebound, Gansey! Gansey on the left wing is fouled, and that should do it.
It looks like Olmsted Falls can pack their bags and head to Toledo. They're going to play the winner of Lima or Mansfield Senior in the upcoming week.
And the Eagle fans are starting to file out. Gansey hits the first.
Yeah, he's got to nail both of these. He's the big-time player. He's one of the leaders on the team. 10 seconds left. The trip to Toledo on the line. You can both these if you're Gansey.
Second one up. And in.
And he does.
15 for Gansey. 67-58. Morgan, long three off the back of the rim, no good. Rebound Bingley. And St. Edwards isn't going to do anything to stop the clock. It is a district championship for the Bulldogs from Olmsted Falls.
And the Bulldog crowd spills out onto the floor here at Midview High School. Reminiscent of 1996 and years past under Pat Donahue, the Bulldogs are headed to yet another regional, Tim.
67-58 is the final. The Bulldogs are 21-2 and playing in the Sweet 16 on Thursday night in Toledo against either Mansfield Senior or Lima Senior. Lakewood St. Edwards will bow out with a record of 19-4. but it's Olmsted Falls behind a huge game from Pat Braddick, a comeback game from Jamar Scales, and an efficient effort from Dan Bingley and Steve Gansey that will wear the medals of the district champion.
Wish the best of luck to the Bulldogs as they advance to the regional tournament next week at the University of Toledo.
The Bulldogs, district champions at Midview High School in Division I. And here's the headline as it appeared the next morning in the Cleveland Plain Dealer. Bulldogs Braddick steps up to bounce St. Edward. 67-58 was the final. Olmsted Falls over St. Edward. Pat Braddick could not have picked a better night to have a career game. Bob Migra of the Plain Dealer wrote it up. And Olmsted Falls, with the victory over St. Edward, went on to play at the Toledo Division I Regional. Oh, hold on, time. A quick break here. We've just seen the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs defeat the St. Edward Eagles of Lakewood at the Grafton District Championship game. Now we're going to go on the road with the Bulldogs to the Toledo Regional. Sit back and enjoy highlights of the opening round game, regional semifinal at Toledo Savage Hall between the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs at 20-2 in Division I as they take on the Mansfield Senior Tigers exclusively here on One Man Show.
Corey Sparks into the forecourt. Hands it off to Jamar Scales. Down the right side to Gansey. Gansey dribbles into the circle and works to the right sideline, right in front of the Bulldog bench. Sparks left wing, Bingley, Dan for three. Around the rim and out, tipped up, no. Rebound, Mental in the lane, got fouled.
Wow, this is perfect for Olmsted Falls here. 4:20 left to go in the game, and you're getting put. Now, that's a double-edged sword. Perfect if you can make the free throws once you get Mansfield into the bonus situation.
Sixth team foul on Mansfield, and it's on Marquise Carter. That's his third.
Tim, it's noteworthy. Marquise Carter hadn't hit a three-point shot all season long. Last week against Lima, he hit back-to-back threes coming out of intermission to tie the game and eventually go on to win for his Tigers.
Off the inbound, Scales. Bounce on the right side to Bingley. Dan to the baseline. Pulls up, and he got fouled. And that puts Dan Bingley at the free throw line to shoot 1 and 1. From here on out, the Bulldogs are going to the charity stripe. And I mentioned earlier, postseason, they have struggled 55% in tournament time. Not bad tonight, as they are 8 of 13 from the free throw line.
Half-court trap now out of the Bulldogs.
Carter off to Andrew Williams. Williams in the backcourt up ahead to Reed. Reed into the forecourt on the left wing. Steps through a double team in between the circles to Carter. Carter had 14 in the first half, scoreless here in the second. 3:35 to go into the lane. Chiaker drives and scores.
You know, Jamar Scales is in the center of that zone now for Olmsted Falls. He needs to step up and challenge the shooter next time.
Bingley underneath to Sparks, who laid it up and in. Corey Sparks with his second field goal for 4 points off the bench.
Wow.
And right here in front of us as they collide. Right sideline to Gansey. We're under 2 minutes to go here at John F. Savage Hall. And the Bulldog fans are on their feet. Olmsted Falls up by 11. Holding the basketball.
I hope you're enjoying this special feature here on One Man Show tonight. Boys High School basketball featuring the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs and their trip to the state playoffs and the Sweet 16, and who knows, maybe even further. I'd like to take this opportunity to spotlight some of the players you're watching here tonight on our show. Mickey Mental, number 10, also the quarterback on the Bulldogs playoff football team. Dan Bingley, Jack Sanfilippo, Pat Braddick, who had a great game, as you just watched earlier here on One Man Show against the St. Edward Eagles to help the Bulldogs win the Division I District Championship in Grafton and Midview High School. Eric Arcuri, Corey Sparks, Steve Gansey, Adam Rockhold, Jason Tabor, Clayton Lawrence, and Jamar Scales, number 22, who we saw try to sky and dunk, or at least try to dunk against St. Edward again also earlier in the show. You're watching Olmsted Falls boys basketball, feature highlight here, and their trip to the state tournament Sweet 16 on One Man Show.
Nice behind the back pass that time out of Mansfield. Marquise Carter running the floor, and then a good foul out of Olmsted Falls to stop the easy basket. They ran nearly a minute 10 off the clock only to turn it over. So crushing. You can't do that.
Z, you took the words out of my mouth, although you hate the turnover. You got to love the time they took off that clock. There's only 78 seconds to go. Bird shooting 2.
Let's see what this sophomore's made out of if he can hit these shots.
Misses the first. Javario, the 10th grader, now 0 of 3 from the charity stripe here in the fourth quarter.
You know who's having a big game tonight, it goes without saying, is Corey Sparks. He's the Pat Braddick of 5 nights ago. The Bulldogs.
Bird around the rim and out. Rebound tracked down by Sparks, and then Sparks bumped and fouled.
For goaltending, it was on the cylinder and punched off the iron. Come on, guys.
Oh my, they don't call the goaltend, but they will call the foul. Boy, that ball was halfway down the cylinder. Pat Donahue pleading his case.
Oh, come on.
And the Bulldog fans hate the call or non-call.
Well, you know what? If you're Jamar Scales, you put that behind you here right now. He's the leading scorer in the game for Olmsted Falls. You can these 2 free throws with 1:04 left to go. He's having a career game tonight here at UT. I'll tell you.
22 points for Scales, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Scoreless here in the fourth. Line left, first one up and in.
Wow. Scales, ice water in his veins. He knows what he wants. He can smell Saturday. Bulldogs must make all free throws here on out.
Tabor back in. Mickey Mennel had checked in for a short while for Olmsted Falls. He heads back to the bench. Scales, line left, second one up, around the rim and out. Rebound grabbed by Chiakur. 65-53. A minute to go. Right wing 3 up off the rim, no good. Rebound Gansey for Olmsted Falls. It's looking good for the Bulldogs. Gansey fouled. 52.7 to go. And Steve Gansey heads to the free throw line. He can pretty much put this one on ice.
Steve Gansey, the big-time player, leading scorer for the Bulldogs this season, a senior. Again, having played high school basketball, Tim, this is what it's all about. I never made it to this level. I could only dream still to this day and live vicariously through these young men every season here on EOL. This is what you got to do. You sight that rim, and the only thing you see is the ripple of that net as you swish these 2 free throws if you're Steve Gansey.
He missed 2 earlier this quarter. I'm going to go out on a limb and guarantee you he will not miss.
Oh, you're killing me,
right
Tim.
Here.
Come on now.
81% free throw shooter. 19 points tonight. Line left.
Oh, you're killing me, Tim. Come on, man.
Missed the front end. Rebound Chiakur. In the middle to Reed. Reed on the right side to Smith. Smith gives it off to Carter. Carter drives, scoops, no, tip, no. Fight for the rebound. Scales has it for Olmsted Falls. 38 seconds to go. Scales fouled.
Jamar Scales has done a good job inside. Normally he's your shooting forward, but Jamar Scales tonight, Tim, has been a powered forward. He's also played in the paint. Kind of reminds me of Magic Johnson about 20 years ago in the NBA. Remember when the Lakers won and that sweep 4-0 and Magic was the MVP in the paint? You know, and tonight, Scales, I've watched him. He's been inside for the Bulldogs all night, grabbing rebounds, putting power shots up. He's approaching 6 or 7 rebounds on the night.
Well, we'll check the stats at the end of the ball game, but indeed, he has come through. Scales hits the first, And Z-Man, we are coming back here on Saturday night for a regional championship game in Division I as the Bulldogs now lead it by 13.
I tell you what.
66-53, 36 seconds to go.
Tim, gas that Ford Explorer back up. We're coming back Saturday. Book us a room, Red Roof.
Scales missed the second. 66-53. Into the forecourt, Chiaker left of the lane. He slammed it home with the left hand.
Keep your composure now. Don't let the dunk rattle you. The game's in hand here for Olmsted Falls.
In the backcourt, Gansey spins away from trouble. Gansey up the left side, fouled at the half-court line by Kyle Stallard, who's just checked in for Mansfield. 5'11 senior. Steve Gansey heads back to the charity stripe, shooting 2. So we will be back here on Saturday night and bring you the Bulldogs going for a trip to Columbus against either Toledo St. John's or Cleveland Rhodes.
Olmsted Falls champions of the Southwestern Conference, representing the league proudly here at the Division I Regional in Toledo.
Jamar Scales gets a rousing ovation as he goes to the Bulldog bench.
POG, player of the game.
Gansey hit them both. 21 for Steve, 68-55. Carter running the lane, in the lane, drives and scores. No foul as he banged in to a Bulldog. And under the hoop are Curry and Carter, both slow to get up. 9.8 to go. 68-57. Here comes Clayton Lawrence in for Olmsted Falls.
Nice to get minutes off the bench here at the regional. For anybody that's been sitting, somebody off the bench that hasn't seen a lot of minutes.
Eric R. Curry now in the ball game. Jack Sanfilippo checks in as Pat Donahue is going to give everybody a chance to see their name in that final box score that they'll print on the official sheet right here at Toledo. And ball knocked out of bounds in the backcourt with 4.7 to go. On the inbounds, ball goes into Lawrence. Lawrence just holding it, and that does it. The Olmsted Falls Bulldogs win it 68-57. And Olmsted Falls has now won 14 in a row. They are 22-2 on the year. But the most important number is 8. They are in the Elite 8 in the state of Ohio in Division I. Z-Man on Saturday night, they play for a trip to Columbus against either Toledo St. John or Cleveland Rhodes.
This is tremendously exciting. And you folks back there listening in Northeast Ohio, take off your calendar whatever you had planned Saturday. Get on a bus, get in your car. I don't care if you fly here with a glider. You have to come here to Toledo on Saturday and support these Olmsted Falls Bulldogs as they play for a trip to Columbus. The winner of tonight will take on the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs.
How about that? Congratulations to Olmsted Falls. Of course, you'll hear that game Saturday night here and only here on AM 930 WEOL. We'll take a timeout. We'll have a post-game show for you from Chuck. From us, but your overall thoughts on this basketball game tonight?
Well, I thought, at first was a little bit nervous there. They were getting some offensive rebounds and some putbacks. I thought we did a real good job starting to box them out. And when we finally got the game played the way we wanted it to be played, I think that was a big turning point.
Coach, as far as keys to the game for Olmsted Falls, you mentioned second chance points. We cannot allow them to crash the boards. Early on they did that, but then your team seemed to seize the rebounding advantage.
Well, that was the thing we needed to do, Tim. There was no question about that. We had to keep them off the board. And then I'll tell you, Scale stepped up and had a gigantic game. And, we've been waiting for that, and he finally did it.
Coach, he looked like a different player than he did over at Midview. He came out with a lot of confidence tonight.
Well, that was one of the things we said after we won at Midview. I turned to him and I said, "Hey, Jamar, guess what? You don't have to ever play here again." He's not had a whole lot of great games at Midview, and so we went up to Cleveland State and shot a little bit there yesterday, And Jamar just, walked in and he goes, God, I love this environment. Just a big gym and stuff. And so it's nice to see him have a game like he had tonight.
And again, another great overall team effort. Steve came through with some big shots for you. Pat Braddick didn't have the scoring that he had last Saturday, but some great defensive work, and rebounding was a key for Pat.
Oh, I think Pat did a great job. I thought Danny Bingley had his typical silent game where, he gets a few points, a few rebounds, a few assists. I just thought as a whole we played very, very well together tonight.
How gratifying is it to go to the regional championship?
Probably a heck of a lot more gratifying to get to the Final Four, but you got to take them one step at a time, and we're real excited, and we know we're going to face a heck of a basketball team, whichever of these two teams come out of here, and we're just going to go home, try to get ready, and come back on Saturday and do the best we can.
How about Corey Sparks? 4 points, 4 rebounds, great defensive effort tonight for you and your team off the bench.
Well, again, I thought Corey did a great job of playing within himself. He came out early. Made a couple poor decisions with the basketball, but when he came back in the game, I thought he did a great job of just doing what we need him to do. I mean, when you have a team like we do with Jamar and Danny and Steve, those other guys just need to do what they need to do and what they can do. And on any given night, you could have a guy like Braddick tossing 23, but most of the time your role is going to be rebound, get the basketball. If you got an open layup or something, score it. Otherwise, get it to the other guys.
And you have to be very pleased with the way your team played within its game plan tonight. Nothing Mansfield did rattled these kids. And you know what? As a head coach, that's a testimony to you and all your hard work.
It's also a testimony to these kids. I mean, they haven't seen anything that surprises them, and so they just stayed with it. And, they're a great group of kids. Hopefully it's been a goal for these kids, and, we got a chance to achieve that goal, and that's all you can ask for. As a player and a coach, all you can ask for is an opportunity. And we have the opportunity, so now it's up to us what we do with it.
There you go. Coach, congratulations.
Thank you, Tim.
See you
Savor
Saturday.
this. Well done, Coach.
All righty, Pat Donahue, the head coach of the Bulldogs from Olmsted Falls. Again, a winner tonight, 68-57, and they will play for the regional championship Saturday night against the winner of tonight's second ball game, Rhodes and Toledo St. John's. Quick thought or two about Pat's comments before we take another break, Z?
Well, I tell you what, there's a guy in Pat Donahue that loves these kids to death. He's seen them all from the junior high to the high school ranks, and I don't think there's anybody that could be happier for the effort of the kids than Pat. A second father, and I think that's what impresses me the most about what we saw here tonight. Again, it was so humble of him to elude away from my question. Yeah, he did a good job as a coach. He did his job, but it was the kids. He's so proud of what they've done. He's happier for them than anybody else right now for what they've accomplished.
But how about the fact that going back to last year's tournament game against Lakewood, they made it a point to set their goal to play for a regional championship, and now they've accomplished that.
I know exactly that feeling, and that was, I tell you what, the only motivation these kids needed was to let that stick in their craw. All summer long, all fall long, forget football, forget track and baseball. We're coming back to this game again a year from now, and they made it their personal mission. That's, I tell you what, all the inspiration anybody needs. Credit these kids for using that as their center focus if that's what they did.
Well, the interview with tonight's winning coach, Pat Donahue of Olmsted Falls, was brought to you by IBEW Local 129 and the National Electrical Contractors Association. The IBEW supports a drug-free environment in the workplace and in schools.
Should have a drug-free environment everywhere all of the time.
There you go. Good words. All right, we'll take a timeout on the WEOL postgame show. Donahue and the Bulldogs from Olmsted Falls, 68-57 over Mansfield Senior. We'll have more from Savage Hall at the University of Toledo right after this.